Texas tricked into a shootout in Ames. The Royals reign supreme and a former host turned panelist. All this and much more next on College Crossfire.
Where the hell's the rest of it?
Where's the rest of it?
Taylor's not even here to defend himself.
I'm so excited. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into College Crossfire, your home for the exclusive live sports show on the 40 Acres. I'm your host, Reese Miller. Glad to be with you. Excited to have you with us. Before we dive into our sports debate tonight, let's meet our panel of sports knowledge. Off to my right, first off, the GOAT himself, a former host turned panelist. Jeff Barker has come back from the depths of Mississippi into Austin. Jeff, how you doing?
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you. Doing well, Reese. Hey, like what you did with the place. Aren't you glad I brought the desk into play there?
The desk is great. Your mug is even better. So
yeah, no coffee in it for you today, but you brought the comfy chair in. I like that.
That's good.
Hey,
That's good.
Thank you for having me back.
Absolutely. Great to have you. Harry Hoffman, another veteran. One of his final shows. Harry, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be back with the bros. I just want to early on special shout out Peter Splendori, bro. New York, we miss you, bud. I told you I'd give you a shout out early, so there it is.
Excellent.
Is he
Great
watching?
start.
Oh, he's watching.
He's watching for sure. Mark Skol, who you got watching tonight? Mom in the crowd?
Mom, Dad, everybody. The whole family.
All right, great, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. After 2 wins and a calming bye week mixed in between, the Longhorns' Halloween party was swept up by the Hurricane Cyclone of Iowa State. For the second time in the last 2 seasons, Texas was shut out, dropping the game 24-0 on the road in Ames. Guys, after building some positive momentum, how big of a setback was it this weekend for Charlie Strong and the Horns? Jeff, we'll start with you.
I'll be honest. The extent of my Texas football watching this year has been following the emotional roller coaster of Texas football fans on Twitter. So I'm going to go and say huge setback, though. I mean, you beat OU, and then you come back and you beat K-State. Not a great K-State team, but still you beat the Fighting Bill Schneiders. Anytime you can do that, it's a good win.
Yep.
But I just think Charlie Strong's got to find some sort of consistency here, and he just has not been able to do that yet, and it's killer on the program there. I think there's got to be some sort of a disconnect from looking from the outside and, not being there every day at press conferences and covering and stuff like that. I think there's got to be a disconnect between maybe Charlie getting the younger guys to buy in. They might be buying in. That's 60% of the team, but then the other 40, 30, the seniors, juniors that are on their way out in the next couple of years, it doesn't seem like they're quite buying in. And it seems like every time he gets them going, he loses them, the very next week. And you can't have games like that where you don't know what you're going to get from the football team each week.
Yeah, this entire season's been sort of a roller coaster. Down against Notre Dame, up and up, some positivity against Cal, back down against TCU, back up against Oklahoma. Harry, what's the issue with this? How big of a setback is this?
For sure. I mean, it's a huge setback. This team is so hot and cold. It's like dealing with 10-year-olds week in and week out. After a big win, they're all, happy and together, tweeting at each other, let's ride, it's coming. And then you go out, you get shut out on the road against Iowa State on Halloween, and the team just blows up. Now they're fighting back and forth on Twitter, Facebook, at the press conferences. Nobody knows what to say. You thought this team found an identity with OU and Kansas State running the football, that 18-wheeler package with Tyrone. You really thought you would take time off the clock, just pound teams until they couldn't survive anymore. And then you just go out and get shut out. You're playing 2 quarterbacks back and forth. Tyrone throws it to a wide-open Dejay, and Dejay's out of bounds. No field awareness. Tyrone, it wasn't a great ball. There's so many things wrong with this team right now, and I'm not really sure what it is, but I think there is still a divide between those juniors and seniors and these younger kids who were recruited by Charlie. And so he needs to figure it out. He needs to figure it out fast because I think he may be on the hot seat. And I hate to say it, but this could be trouble, and it might start Saturday.
I mean, it is Texas football, though. You do not get embarrassed, and he's time and time again gotten embarrassed on the field.
Certainly, Miami rumors not helping anything at the moment. At least
don't you have to do something good at your current job to get a job that's as good or better?
You think Miami's better?
No, not better, but right now it's as good.
Yeah, that's true. Mark, what do you think here?
Oh, it's a huge setback, and they made Iowa State, the 2-5 Iowa State Cyclones, look like a national powerhouse. And I mean, Joel Lanning and Michael Warren looked like Heisman candidates. It was horrible. It was a horrible performance by the Texas Longhorns. They didn't show anything on offense. Only 85 yards of total offense. They only got in the other side of the field one time, and then Gerard Hurd throws an interception. It's just not a great performance by the Longhorn football team, and yeah, it's a huge setback because they're playing the 2-5 Iowa Cyclones. They can get hyped up for Oklahoma Sooners because it's a Red River rivalry, and then they get hyped because they're playing in the rain against Kansas State at home. But then when you're going to Ames, Iowa, you got to be pumped up to play that game, especially in that kind of atmosphere. That's like playing against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. It's just it's a big atmosphere to play in, and they didn't show up. It was embarrassing for the Longhorns team.
Now in 3 games on the road, they've been outscored over 100 to 10 in 3 true road games. TCU, Notre Dame, and Iowa State. Certainly a rough start, guys. Jeff is coming in strong with a point, just because he chose Keem Bagwell, and he's bringing the knowledge as well from Ole Miss. This season, the Longhorn offense has been just short of abysmal, ranking 119th out of 128 FBS schools. On Saturday, Texas ran 1 offensive play in Iowa State territory before that final drive. The California game seems like a long, distant memory. So, guys, was it the right call to put Jay Norvell as offensive coordinator after that first week? Is it time to maybe make another move? People have talked about Jeff Traylor, maybe bringing an outside hire, but either way, all of a sudden, Jay Norvell has been called into question. Harry, we'll start with you.
I don't think it's his fault. I mean, we saw him come in and against Rice and then against Cal, against Oklahoma State. I mean, this offense was moving the ball. They were scoring. Gerard was making plays happen. They were throwing the ball down the field. Then they institute this Tyrone package, and you think everything's going well. They dominate against OU. Again, they run the ball against Kansas State. Again, you thought they had found an identity, and then Saturday it just all goes wrong. So I don't really think it's the play calling. Gerard has so many plays where he just chooses not to throw the football, whether he just runs it out of bounds for a 4 or 5 yard loss or just tucks it away after one read. So I don't think that's on Jay Norvell, and I don't think they should make any changes now this late in the season. I think you go with what you have. You try to get back to running the football with Deonta and Jonathan Gray and just go from there. And you got to dominate the line of scrimmage, and you got to find a way to throw the ball deep and down the field. Maybe reevaluate the coordinator position after the season, but for now I think you stick with what you got.
Sure. Mark, what do you think here?
Oh, it's not Jay Norvell's fault at all. It's the talent on the field. I mean, it all starts up front on offense, and the offensive line, they're starting 2 true freshmen on the offensive line, Patrick Vahe and Connor Williams at left tackle, and it's been bad. And you've seen Jonathan Gray. Jonathan Gray can't get anything going. I'd personally rather see Devonta Freeman in there than Jonathan Gray. I feel like Freeman goes right through the hole, whereas Gray's a little bit more hesitant. But yeah, it's not Norvell's fault at all. It's just not a good team, and we saw that at Notre Dame. We saw that at TCU. We're going to see that at Baylor. It's not Norvell's fault at all. He's doing the best with what he has. He's dealt a horrible hand. He's trying to make the most of it. It's just not a good team.
Yep.
Well, okay, Mark, is this the most talented Texas team to ever play? Is this the best offense that Texas has ever had? No, but I don't think Reese threw out the stat 119th out of 128. I don't think that the other 9 teams that get you all the way up to 128 are even on the same level talent-wise as Texas. So, I mean, clearly there's something wrong. There's some sort of disconnect with, being 119 out of 128 when you have the talent that Texas does, or any Big 12 program. I don't care if you're Iowa State or Kansas for that matter. You just have more talent than those teams in the bottom half of the FBS. But I thought it was a rash decision to get rid of Sean Watson on the play-calling duties at first. I mean, I think Norvell's probably the clear-cut guy that you go to after that, but I just don't know if he obviously hasn't been getting it done right now. I mean, you can't score 0 points.
Yeah, especially not to Iowa State team that was terrible against the run. Defensively, they're going to have another terrible team in the Big 12 this weekend against Kansas. Mark, I think you're getting the point. Again, I think this is more about the Texas players rather so far. You're getting booed there. Come on, guys.
You really think it's a lack of talent?
I don't think it's a lack of talent, but
Did
at
you
a
think
certain
Gerard
level.
Hurd or Tyrone Swoops? I mean, it all if you look at the NFL too, all the teams in the playoffs, they all have elite quarterbacks. Does Texas have an elite quarterback? No. They had an elite quarterback for one game.
At a certain level, the coaches have to, have to get it. All right, we'll keep going here, guys. Finally, the College Football Playoff Committee has released its initial rankings. Clemson claimed the top spot, followed by LSU, Ohio State, and a one-loss Alabama team. Notre Dame was the first team out at 5. Baylor took home 6th, then TCU was 8th. The other Big 12 teams were Oklahoma State at 14 and the Sooners at 15. Fellas, what's your initial reaction to these rankings, and who's in your top 4 right now? Mark, we'll go with you first.
Well, first off, I want to say these rankings don't mean anything. Last year, the first rankings, 3 of the 4 teams that were in that ranking didn't even make it to the college football playoff. So rankings at this point don't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything till at the end of the season. As for the rankings, I think they're bogus. How is it? The SEC is completely overrated, and I feel like we see it time and time again. And the SEC, they're not not very good this year. Alabama lost one game, and they're in the Final Four. Alabama's always going to be in the Final Four because all the college football analysts love Nick Saban. But
They're afraid of Nick Saban.
maybe that's what it is. But no, it's ridiculous. Like, what else does Baylor have to do to get in the Final Four? They've been blowing away their competition. I mean, they're undefeated. What else can they do? But for my Final Four, I'm going to go Ohio State just because they won the national championship last year. They're undefeated. I don't know if they'll be in the Final Four at the end of the season. This is just right now rankings. Clemson, just because they're probably the hottest team in college football right now. Then I'm going to go with Baylor. Even without Seth Russell, I feel like the new quarterback coming in is going to be pretty solid. And then I'm going to go with LSU because I think Leonard Fournette is unbelievable. Yeah. No one can stop him.
Jarrett Stidham, a 5-star quarterback. You think even in that Arbrow system, still able to carry on? Jeff, what say you?
I mean, well, to Mark's point about Baylor, I think the first thing they can do is beat a ranked team. And I get that they're in the Big 12. There's nothing they can do about that. They play every team in their conference. You play all 9 of those teams. If the conference sucks, not great right now. But, they haven't played the meat of their schedule yet, so they'll have time to prove it. And I agree. I mean, right now, kind of meaningless. It's hard to make, I guess you can kind of make what you will of it. I mean, Bama at number 4, I don't know if I agree with that. I'd probably leave them at 4. I don't know if the playoff committee always knows more than I do. It's just like when you're betting, Vegas always knows more than you do.
Right.
So I'll have Bama at 4. I think I'll throw, I had in there. Oh, I had TCU and Michigan as my first 4. I think TCU over Baylor really got hosed on it.
Yeah.
So I think they've, found ways to win games against some better teams than maybe Baylor has, but haven't really played anyone. I'll throw LSU, and I'll agree with Clemson at 1.
Yep.
I pretty much agree with it. I think what the committee wanted to do was send a message, and that's schedule better teams. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to send a message early on, knowing that they could get their point across before Baylor does play all these good teams in the Big 12 to finish off the season. But I think the committee kind of uses logic, and they give teams points for having Urban Meyer as your coach and Nick Saban as your coach and Dabo and Les Miles, and it's just kind of the emotional aspect of it, and they use the eye test. So they're just never going to say that. They're never going to come out and say, we like Bama at 4 because of Nick Saban, even though it's probably true. They're going to go by strength of schedule and things like that. So I tend to agree with it. I would probably throw Baylor in at 4, I guess, just because Bama has 1 loss. But I love the Tide, and I'm rolling with them on Saturday. And with that, we can go to commercial.
All right, let's take it. I like you pitching it out here. You're getting the point just for that. And I like what you said about playoff committee sending a message. That's going to do it for round 1. Up next, we have the association, question decisions, and take a look at a team making some noise out west. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to College Crossfire, everybody. Before we head to round 2, let's examine our scoreboard off to my right. These fellas all tied up at 1 point apiece after a solid round 1. Headed for round 2. Knotted up, guys. After 30 years of tribulation, the Kansas City Royals are world champions of baseball. Certainly was not an easy task for the Royals to achieve, facing elimination in Game 5 in New York with Matt Harvey on the mound. The Metropolitans took a 2-0 lead to the 9th inning. Harvey had pitched brilliantly to that point and demanded to stay in the game after Terry Collins was going to make a move to the bullpen for the ninth. Harvey surrendered the lead, and the Mets eventually lost in the 12th inning. Hindsight's always 20/20, but Jeff, we'll start with you here. Did Collins make the right move here, and did he maybe get pressured a little bit by his star pitcher?
I think he definitely got pressured from Harvey. I'll just throw this out there first. Devastated, absolutely devastated again by the Dodgers. So really didn't watch that much of this World Series, if we're being completely honest here. But I did watch that.
Who's your Dodgers manager candidate?
I don't even know. Talk to me on opening day. Talk to me in Game 7 of the World Series next year.
Oh, yeah, right.
Whenever we make it. I don't know. I was absolutely devastated, though. But back to Collins and the Mets. I think he definitely got pressured by Harvey, but that's what you want from your starting pitcher. You want your starting pitcher to be a fiery guy. You want him to be out there. I don't really like the way that Harvey approached it, and that's just kind of the nature of, I'm sure that happened back in the day. Now we've got cameras everywhere. And but like I said, don't really like the way he approached it. Thought Collins made the right move, though, by letting him go back out there. But after he walks Lorenzo Cain, got to pull him after that.
Yep.
I mean, because you can't let Familia, or you can't have Familia come in with the game on the line like that. If you're going to give Familia the save opportunity, then you give him the entire inning, or you give him essentially a clean slate to start with. A 2-run lead, a guy on first, no outs.
Yeah, I mean, Familia had blown 2 saves before that, so I can understand putting Harvey back out there. I mean, I don't know if anybody really expected him to blow it. I thought he was going to come out and pitch a 1-2-3. Those Royals, they never die.
Never say die.
Heroes get remembered, legends never die. They're unbelievable. But, yeah, I wasn't watching too much of the baseball. Look, these games are going 20 innings long. I'm trying to watch football. I'm glad the season's over. Good for the Royals or whatever, whoever won it. Don't really care that much. But, yeah, it sucks for the Mets. Terry Collins, I thought he made the right call, though.
How does he not get the quote for the heroes get remembered, but legends never die?
Great quote, but not caring about baseball. See if Mark cares over here.
I definitely think it was the right decision to keep Harvey in. Just the way they played. I mean, I'm a Cubs fan, so I got to see all the Mets pitchers against the Cubs, and they lit everything up. They were unbelievable, and you would think it would keep going, keep rolling against the Royals, and he was rolling that game also. I would have stuck with him if I was Collins. I felt like it was the right decision. Harvey was just on fire that game, and he just pitched a bad inning, and it ended up screwing the Mets' playoff chances. I don't think it's entirely his fault they lost the series. I think that just the Mets pitching overall that series wasn't impressive, and the hitting wasn't as good either. But I definitely think it was the right decision. The Dark Knight is really good, and he should have played a complete game in the World Series.
Sure. Harry's getting the point here just because he's a legend. Legends never die. 1 week into the NBA season already. The Raptors, Warriors, and Clippers are all undefeated, while the Lakers, Pelicans, Nets, and 76ers are all winless. A long way to go in this season, but what has surprised you most from what you've seen on the court so far to this point? Harry, we'll start with you.
Oh, man, I hate to go with the general public, but it's hard not to go with that man, Steph Curry. I mean, he's a bad man. And I think he's gotten better from last year, and it's incredible to say that because it seems like every shot he puts up is going to find the bottom of the net. Doesn't matter if it's from half court or a 3-foot floater that he lofts to the ceiling and it happens to drop in. His vision is incredible. His handles are incredible. Man, the Warriors might go 72-10. It's unbelievable what he's done, averaging like 35 a game or some ridiculous number. I think it's Steph Curry. I think he might go back-to-back.
Okay. Mark?
My initial takeaways from the regular season so far is the Oklahoma City Thunder are back. It's quite evident. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are both averaging. Well, Russell Westbrook's averaging 30 points. Kevin Durant's averaging 29. It's just incredible what Russell Westbrook did last year, and now to have a healthy KD back. I think this team might be one of the favorites in the West, possibly to win it all. But yeah, I definitely think with Dion Waiters, Enes Kanter, Steven Adams, that team is just stacked. And like what happened last year with the Warriors, they got a new coach in there with Steve Kerr last year. Now they have Billy Donovan in at Florida. I think that might be the missing piece for Oklahoma City to get over that hump and make it to the NBA Finals.
A little bit of a almost forgotten team preseason, missing out on the playoffs last year. Now healthy, looking really good at 3-1. Jeff?
Yeah, I've got 3 things here. I'm going to agree with Mark on the first one. I think the Thunder in OKC, I think they pose the biggest threat to the title defense, the Western Conference title defense, at least to begin with, for the Warriors. But I also agree with Hoff on that. Steph Curry is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he is lights out there. Really don't like the guy. There's something about him that I just don't want to root for. I'll be honest. He's just almost too good of a guy. I just really,
You don't like the kid bit where he has the kid at the press conference?
No, I want to hear from Steph. Want a little bit of an edge. He's like too much of a family man almost. He's too good of a guy. But I'll throw out my other 2 are my Lakers. Heartbroken again. They're absolute trash. They are just absolute hot garbage. And Kobe's right. He sucks. Love Kobe to death. He's my entire childhood. The guy's awful. I mean, he's not a very good basketball player anymore. Yeah. And then my last one will be Spurs are still the best team in Texas.
Wow.
Boom.
I agree completely.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, Jeff brought it. I'm with you. First off, the Mavs were able to get by the Lakers on the road, and
they're trash. They're so
At least Julius Randle's a bright spot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, maybe you got Julius Randle and Kobe.
And
so
could have had
good
Jaleel.
luck.
Yeah.
Guys, this one's for Jeff Barker. Time to head to the black hole and the Oakland Raiders. Perhaps the most surprising team in the NFL would be the 5th seed if the playoffs started today. The suddenly exciting Raiders, led by second-year quarterback Derek Carr, who has thrown for 15 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions, have risen to a 4-3 record. After years of futility, is it finally time we will see the silver and black back in the postseason? Starting with Mark.
I'd say it's a possibility. I'm not going to say it's definite. I'd say about 55% the Raiders make the playoffs. I really like what Derek Carr is doing. I think he was probably the best quarterback taken in that draft. And then I think they took the second best player in this draft in Amari Cooper. I think Todd Gurley's definitely the best player in this draft. But they missed out. The Raiders missed out on Calvin Johnson a long time ago, and I think they got a really good steal here with Amari Cooper. And I just think it's going to be a very tough team to face down the road. I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs this year. The teams they play this year, that they beat this year, they're not really the most impressive teams. I think they're all under 500. So, but yeah, I think their future is bright. I think signing Aldon Smith was it was a risk, but it paid off. But I think the Raiders are definitely going down the right path, for sure.
Yep, certainly losses to the Bears and the Browns, also not as impressive, but still solid. Floor's all yours.
Fellas, the train's rolling Oakland. The train is rolling. Love Carr, love Cooper, love Mack. I don't know if you mentioned him. Mack is the man. He's got the defense going. I like the Aldon Smith pickup. I like having Justin Tuck out there. I like having Charles Woodson, the ageless wonder, out there at safety. We've talked about two of my teams being absolute trash. The Raiders are on the rise. I'm gonna agree with Mark here. I'm gonna say about a 50 to. You know what? I'll match Mark's 55% right there. I'll say 55% chance the Raiders make the playoffs. I just think, when the Broncos are the team in your division, you've already lost to them, or the best team in your division, 7-0, you've already lost to them. Peyton's only getting better after struggling. I just think the chances are tough. Mark's right; they really haven't beaten anyone. They've also lost to some terrible teams, the Bears. Sorry, Mark. I had to throw that out there, but we're rolling. We're rolling, man.
They're rolling.
That's all I got to say. There's finally some hope. I'm being cautiously optimistic.
They're rolling. Next 2 weeks going to be really crucial. You got the Steelers at 4-4 right there in that wild card race, and then a good Minnesota team.
Well, and also a great sign that Todd Bowles' unbelievable defense. He's the defensive guru, next great head coach. Crushed him last week.
Yeah, I mean, I texted Jeff Sunday night. I told him I was hopping on the first flight to Oakland, because I'm all on board with this Raiders team. And I'll go 98% they make the playoffs.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
The AFC,
Points.
The AFC outside of the Patriots and the Bengals, and I guess the Broncos, the wild card race is completely up for grabs. And I'll tell you what, it's not coming from the AFC South. And I really don't like any of the teams out of the East. The Jets were rolling for a bit of a setback. Bills and Dolphins are a complete coin toss. I think the Steelers, are there. And that's a huge game for you guys on Sunday. And if you get it done, that's huge. And Amari Cooper's my favorite player in the NFL. I love Derek Carr. Didn't really like his brother, but I like Derek. And so I'm on board.
Like many Texas fans. Like many Texas fans. We got to keep some journalistic unbiased here so Mark gets some points. Just so we can keep it
We're
fair.
not biased.
No, fair enough.
We're keeping it under control, headed for round 3, guys. Mark gets a point. We're all tied. I love homers. 2 rounds down. The most important is yet to come. Rapid Fire rages your way next on College Crossfire. Thanks for sticking with us on our final segment. You'll be very appreciative that you did not go anywhere, because it is about that time for Rapid Fire to toast us a winner. Let's glance at our scoreboard one final time. We are all knotted at 2. Just before we get ready to go, you guys are all veterans, so you guys know how it works. Points are doubled. Jump in at any time. We're slicing question 1. I'll tell you guys a little bit on. So we're headed for question 2. Only 2 questions. We are back into, so this week, sometimes reaching out to an athlete on social media actually works. This week, a fan posted on Rory McIlroy's Facebook page saying, "Hey, I need a new driver. Any chance I can have one of your old Nike ones, fella?" Rory obliged, naturally, saying eventually messaging the fan and presenting him with a new Nike golf club. So, if you could receive one item from any athlete, what would it be? You have open access to any athletes here, and you got to convince them to give you something.
Are they?
What do you want?
Still playing right now?
It can be any athlete that's still living.
Still living?
I'm gonna go for Mark. I'm gonna go a Derrick Rose game-used knee brace. Hey, but I'm not even hating on that, because I'd take a Kobe game-used sock or something like that. I'd take anything Kobe related. That would be mine.
Yeah. Kobe, anything? Derrick Rose knee brace is pretty good.
I'd probably, I'm not going to be comical because I feel like that's rude. But no, I'm going to go with
Give me
I'm
Thunder
gonna
on a
go-
flak jacket.
I'm gonna go with Kobe Bryant shoes. I feel like he has a bunch of shoes. He's obviously got a Nike shoe line, and he's almost done. His career's almost over. So if I could get a signed pair of sneakers, that'd be pretty tight.
Not even like a signed pair, like
Kobe
Jordan
sneaks?
5s or something?
Well, Jordan's not playing. I want to do something
All right,
playing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right.
I mean, I would probably ask Derek Jeter, since he married the dime in the middle, I would ask him for a date with one of the other 8 in his baseball time. And Jeter's the best of all time, and he's my favorite of all time. And if he could hook me up, DJ, wherever you are, that'd be great.
Wait, so are we talking
which
about
sloppy
dimes
would you
or are we
take?
talking
Which sloppy
about
second?
No, the one from Friday Night Lights, whatever her name was. She's cute.
All right.
Wait, anyway, what was her name?
Yeah.
I agree with the guy.
I don't know, but Harry mentioned 8, so I think Harry's going to go ahead and...
Because he took Anna Davis.
Yeah, Harry gets the point. Maybe throwing a bat or a glove, too. Maybe.
That's fine,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
one of those
That's
gift
secondary.
bags that he used to give the ladies.
All right. Once again, the NFL trade line has come and gone with little excitement at the deadline. The most noteworthy deal was with former 49ers tight end Vernon Davis, shipped as another weapon for Peyton Manning in Denver. So the scenario here is you give us your NFL trade that you would have loved to see happen, or that should have happened that didn't. NFL trades are pretty boring. We're going to spice it up here.
Oh.
NFL. I don't even know any NFL trades that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Or should have happened. Chris Paul to the Lakers, that should have
Yeah.
happened. Thanks a lot, David Stone.
Whew, man,
That's tough.
that's a tough one. Come with, I thought I was expecting like a caption this or something. I was expecting
We've
a
advanced
classic,
on rapid fire
classic
now,
go-to
Jeffrey.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. We don't take the easy way out anymore.
Yeah.
I'll say
That's fine. I'm not offended by that.
Just kidding.
I'll say Calvin Johnson to the Broncos. I feel like he would have added a deep threat that they need, and would have helped them out a lot. And Detroit, they're not really going anywhere, and I feel like this is probably Peyton's last run. So I know they already got Vernon Davis, but if they could add someone like Calvin
Okay.
Johnson, I felt like that would have been huge for them.
Okay, so we have Megatron to the Broncos.
Can I make up a trade? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah, you just make up a trade.
Brady to the
would've-
Texans. Spread the love. Give us some Super Bowls. This is so unfair.
Brady
We've
to
been
the
winning
Texans.
since 2001. It's absurd.
You can't have them.
Okay.
Man. God, I mean, I guess I'll go out on a limb here. I'll say Gronk to the Raiders, just because we're trying to turn
man.
up.
That's awesome.
We're trying to turn
That's
up in
awesome.
Oakland.
I like
don't
that.
know.
He's the perfect Raider. Gronk's the perfect
Gronk
Raider.
might be the most perfect Raider ever. So,
I mean, because he could literally do everything that he's doing right now and totally get away with it unscathed.
yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
he's essentially doing that right now with the Patriots.
Jeffrey, no shocker here. You're taking home the victory, taking the dub back to old Mississippi. And let's go ahead and give you 30 seconds for FaceTime. Tell us, give us an update after your win.
God, an update after the win. I'm gonna go and just continue talking about my teams. I'm gonna say
Let's
the
go.
Dodgers. Fellas, we need to get it together. We've got about a $700 billion payroll. We're just throwing money to anyone. Maybe we need to go after and start doing what the Royals are doing, what maybe the Rays were doing and they had some success. Maybe start doing what the small market teams are doing. I don't know. And Lakers, I never thought I would say this. Maybe take a page out of the Clippers book. I don't know. Maybe hire a good coach. Go out and no offense to Byron Scott. Maybe
Right.
get rid of the aging veteran and Kobe. I'm getting cut off for FaceTime, so back to you.
Back to me. Big thanks to all you guys. Great having you back, Jeff. Certainly a bright future in your direction. That will do it for show 9 and 20 and 15. Don't forget to check us out on social media at College X-Fire. Make sure to catch us every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. For the very best Longhorn sports news, tune into College Press Box Mondays at 9:30. They're on the Twitter as well, at College Press Box. All of our shows are on YouTube as well. Jeff Barker, the returning host, is your champion. Big thanks to our other panelists, Harry Hoffman, Mark Skol Jr., and even bigger applause is due to everyone in studio, Master Control, and a special thanks to each and every one of you for spending your Wednesday night with us. Until next week, I'm Reese Miller. Have an outstanding night.
But it says